first and foremost, I want to say thank you for your service to the country, because that says a lot about the man you are and the type of character that you have. So thank you for your service to our country, Brian.
No, thank you.
So when this news broke on Saturday night, in particular with you being a former Secret Service agent, my goodness, what was your immediate reaction once you saw that pop up on your TV or on your smartphone?
Secret Service training is around 7 months long, and so you kind of train for events like this, but by no means do you want anything to ever happen like this. And so when I first saw it, I immediately put out prayers for those who were impacted directly, and then I immediately thought about the agents who were at that scene, the agents who had been there for probably a week or so. And then obviously the ship agents that you saw immediately cover former President Trump. My thoughts just went to them immediately, and I just start remembering training and remembering some of the site security events that I did during President Obama's administration. And, we're just wired to start immediately thinking about what happened, how was it secured? How should it have been secured? And all of those thoughts just started running through my head.
I have always wanted to ask a Secret Service agent this, and what it is how do you get to the decision that you're ready to die for president? Because that's essentially what a Secret Service agent is ready to do. Like, what led you to be able to be that selfless for the president of the United States?
No, you just start thinking about things being bigger than you, right? In a more macro level, you start thinking about how the country would move on if this particular person no longer existed, right? And then you start to develop this level of responsibility. Almost similar to your child. I know how people feel about their children, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 kids, one that's 19 and a daughter who's 12, and I would lay my life on the line for them at a moment's notice. And so you develop that sense of responsibility for essentially the protector of the free world, and you try to do the best job you can.
Brian, what would have happened had Trump actually been shot and killed? What would have been the protocol? What would have happened? You just mentioned, that's the thing that the Secret Service wants to happen the least.
Mm-hmm.
What would have happened? Put yourself in the situation. Where do you think the country would be, and where do you think that moment would have gone?
You know what? It's hard to say. I know that there are certain protocols put in place at every site in terms of motorcade routes to the hospital, assets around the former president or the president that decide on how to take care of those things, whether he can be treated in place or whether he can be moved to a more secure location. So not without knowing those intimate details of that particular site, I can certainly say if the president, former president, had been shot, there would be, again, just swift investigations.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to even think about where the country would be in terms of the political climate that we see ourselves in now. And even now, the FBI is conducting an investigation and that's standard, just to have objectivity. You don't want to investigate yourself, right? And so the FBI is conducting an investigation into the site security plan, just to make sure that the plan was thoroughly planned out, and to see if there were any gaps or things that need to be addressed. And I have full faith when that report comes out that those things will be addressed. But it'll be interesting to see whether or not the country or citizens are ready for some of the perceived inconveniences with heightened security.
What do you mean by
that?
What I mean by that is, there's always a gray line between, especially during a campaign, with things being convenient. Our protectee wants to be seen, He wants to get out. He wants to shake hands. He wants to do a rope line. He wants to do all of these different things that a campaignee should want to do. But with that comes security risk, right? And so there's always a give and take with security and with the staff and being seen. And some of those things can be an inconvenience. Is it an inconvenience to have 200 people go through a metal detector or a magnetometer? It's probably a little bit of an inconvenience, but there provides a certain level of security there. So that's why the people that were immediately around former President Trump most likely had went through that magnetometer. So that area was secure. The area was clean, right? So there's always levels of inconvenience or perceived inconvenience that provide security.
Dr. Gant with us right now, former Secret Service agent. You know, you mentioned those protocols, and I know for a lot of these destinations and where presidents go, you know, there's months dedicated in setting up that perimeter, that security. Like, it's not like they show up a day before and they figure everything out. Like, this is thought about. It is very detailed on how we're going to handle a situation. For you, what would be your theory as a former Secret Service guy on how the shooter managed to get to the second floor of that building about 150 yards away from him?
Yeah, just thinking about that site security plan. Hopefully, the plan when they actually look at what was supposed to happen, hopefully those rings of security. So it seems like that building was considered outside of like a hard security zone, the zone that's immediately around the protectee. But even with buildings or things that are considered outside the hard security zone, there's another level that should be covered by possibly local law enforcement or possibly highway patrol, things of that nature. And so even when those areas are swept, right,
right.
You know, with dogs or what have you, once those areas are swept and deemed clear, you have to find some way to either physically protect them with a body, maybe a police vehicle, things of that nature. So, I'm not sure as to where those assets were around that particular building.
Right.
I think that'll be the crux of the conversation.
Oh, yeah.
How that individual got that rooftop.
Yeah,
Dr.
everybody's
Brian Gant,
wondering.